Hello everyone. Both TCS as well as Infosys announced their second quarter results a few days back. I have been comparing these two companies. Now we all know that TCS is India's number one IT services company, whereas Infosys is at number two. So I have been comparing these two since the March quarter results to get an idea of how they could perform in the coming quarter, mainly the share prices. Okay, the business performance is not in my hand, but what I can compare is how their performance or results performance is, and how their current market cap valuation is, and based on that I could suggest or estimate which one of the two could outperform on the stock market in the next few weeks or a few months. Okay, so I've been doing this comparison since the March quarter. So the previous two comparison reports videos are also there on my channel. I'm sharing the link in the description below or the I button above. You can have a look at that. In this, before we start with this comparison in Q2 numbers, I would quickly run you through how the previous recommendations or previous comparisons have helped us in guessing which one of the two could outperform on the stock market. So let's have a quick look at that. So on the first video was I made it on 5th of May numbers. Okay, so in that video I had clearly suggested that Infosys could outperform so that the valuation gap between the two could be reduced. So that was on 5th of May. So if you look at the table below, the share price of Infosys from 5th of May till the next comparison after the Q1 numbers, the share price has clearly outperformed the Infosys share price. If you see, Infosys delivered 35% returns during that quarter, during that period between 5th of May and 16th of July, compared to 15.5% jump in TCS share price. Okay, now on 16th of July I made the next video comparing their performance till Q1 numbers. Okay, Q1 of this financial year. So during that point I have mentioned that now the valuation gap has reduced. Okay, the previously TCS was trading at a much more premium valuation compared to Infosys, and which I thought was Infosys deserved a little more. So by 16th of July, the valuation gap had reduced, and at that point I mentioned that now that whatever premium is left for TCS, it is something that it deserves. Okay, so there is not much of a gap to be reduced from that point. So both could perform in line. And if you see the numbers now from 16th of July to 19th of October, that is yesterday, both the share prices have delivered kind of similar returns. Okay, TCS has gone up by 21%, whereas Infosys share price has gone up by 23%. So now let's start with the comparison of the numbers for Q2, and then we'll compare both of them on a trailing 12 months basis as well. Remember, just looking at one quarter numbers is not a good thing. Okay, we have to have a slightly longer term view so that we get a better idea of which one has been performing or outperforming the other on a longer term basis. Okay, so let's first we'll have a look at the quarterly numbers, and then we'll have a look at the trailing 12-month numbers. So here you can see the quarterly basic some important numbers that I am presenting. So in case of total income, if you see, TCS has delivered 5.4% quarter on quarter growth. Compared to that, Infosys has delivered 4.1%. So if you see here, in the second quarter, TCS has clearly come back with a strong performance. Okay, in the previous quarter, if you see in the Q1 numbers in the video that I had released on 16th of July, Infosys had clearly outperformed TCS. But now we can see that TCS has come back and delivered a very strong performance in Q2. Despite its larger size, it has managed to grow at a slightly faster pace compared to Infosys. Okay. Now, if you look at the EBITDA and the profit before tax numbers as well, there is some bit of outperformance in these numbers as well for TCS compared to Infosys. Okay, fairly strong growth for both, means even Infosys numbers are very good. If you see, EBITDA growth is 16% compared to 4% growth for total income. That means both the companies have expanded their margins. Okay, they have managed to control their costs. Obviously, COVID situation and work from home activities have helped expand the margins for both these companies, and maybe it's true for many other IT services companies as well. But here we can see that both of them have expanded margins really well, but TCS has performed slightly better. Now, if you look at the profit after tax growth figure, okay, so here Infosys has clearly outperformed TCS, but there is a reason for that. TCS had to allocate around 1200 crores towards provisioning for some court case that they lost in the US. Okay, so that was a one-time impact that they had to face. So if you ignore, if you even after those 1200 crores, TCS has still managed a 6.5% quarter-on-quarter growth in its net profit. But if we include those 1200 crores to get an actual idea of the performance, then TCS net profit figure would also have outperformed Infosys figure for sure. But as of now, those 1200 crores is a provisioning that they have made. This is a one-time impact. Obviously, this 1200 crores will impact the trailing 12-month numbers as well in the coming chart. So now let's look at the trailing 12-month figures. Okay, so in this chart, if you can see, TCS numbers growth, year-on-year growth. I'm presenting year-on-year growth here for the trailing 12-month numbers. So by the end of Q1, TCS was reporting negative growth for almost all these parameters: total income, EBITDA, profit before tax, and profit after tax. But by now, by the end of Q2, they have come back to positive terrain in total income as well as EBITDA. Okay, so 2.1% growth, year-on-year growth in total income, and 1.4% in EBITDA. So they have come back strong with Q2 numbers. On the other hand, Infosys was already in positive terrain and it has just managed to improve it further. Okay, so if you see on the trailing 12-month basis, Infosys has clearly outperformed TCS. Okay, here. Now, if you look at the rightmost column, that will give us a fairly good idea of how the margins are there. Okay, both the companies, how their margins they are enjoying. So on the total income front, TCS size is 166% of Infosys size. Okay, on the total income front. But if you look at the EBITDA, it goes to 171%. That means TCS clearly enjoys a superior EBITDA margin on a trailing 12-month basis compared to Infosys. Okay, had that number been lower than 166, we could have said that Infosys is enjoying a better EBITDA margin. But here, the figure is 171, which is higher than the total income comparison figure. So that's why we can say that EBITDA margin for TCS is certainly superior. Now, if we come to profit before tax, even here it's 175. That means profit before tax figure is also higher means it's even superior for TCS compared to Infosys, even superior compared to EBITDA number comparison. So TCS is still outperforming Infosys on the margin front on a trailing 12-month basis for sure. Then if we look at the profit after tax, now remember what I had mentioned just a few seconds back, those 1200 crores have impacted TCS trailing 12 months figures as well. And despite that impact, TCS size is almost 172% of Infosys. That means it is, in spite of those 1200 crores impact, TCS is enjoying a superior net profit margin as well compared to Infosys. Now, if we look at the market cap comparison, okay, TCS has already crossed the 10 lakh crores market cap figure. Infosys is now approaching the 5 lakh crores market cap figure. So here it's 212%. If I remember correctly, it was around 216% by the end on the 16th of July, that is after the Q1 numbers. So from 216, it has slightly reduced to 212. That means the valuation premium for TCS has reduced slightly over the last 3 months. Now, what can we say based on these numbers, based on the quarterly number as well as the trailing 12-month numbers? What could be the comparative performance over the next 3 months? Now, my point will be guess will be both will perform in line. Maybe TCS will slightly outperform Infosys. The reason being the quarter on quarter growth numbers for TCS were clearly superior to that of Infosys. Okay, so based on that, I can say that TCS share price could slightly outperform Infosys over the next 3 months. Okay, from this point onwards, from the point 19th October numbers that I've considered here. Now the next quarter results will again could make a difference. We will see. Look at it in January when the next quarter results are announced. But over the next 3 months, my suggestion would be, or my guess would be, that both could perform in line, or there could be a slightly positive outperformance for TCS. Very slightly, maybe it won't be very big, but there could be a slightly positive outperformance for TCS. And one other factor is its buyback also. TCS has announced a 16,000 crores buyback at 3,000 rupees a share. It's not a very big buyback, but it could impact the share price in the short term. Okay, so but ignoring the buyback, I would say the TCS share price could slightly outperform Infosys. Now we'll compare it again in January. If you found this video useful, please do like and share it with your friends, and please don't forget to subscribe to my channel for such regular updates.